Friday, people, but it's also Mother's Day weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there across the world. Treat mom right. Treat mom right every day, but especially this upcoming weekend. We would not be here without you, all of you precious moms. Appreciate all that you do, and we are rocking and rolling right here on the hottest show on the streets, talking your Crimson Tide football in my own words. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine, bringing you the show from the Magic City of Birmingham, streaming this to you on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, hit subscribe, get those likes up, make this your show, your network platform channel, and space to talk Bama. Turn all of those notifications on, hit that little bell so you miss nothing on your Crimson Tide. Got you covered also on Facebook and Twitter as well, streaming to the show. We got a cool one for you today. A little bit later on, we'll be joined by new Bama tight end Miles Kitselman, coming in from the transfer portal from the JUCO ranks, Hutchinson Community College in Kansas. So it's going to be fun to talk to Miles on his arrival to the Crimson Tide that will happen in the summer, and just get his thoughts on what has him excited to be a part of the Bama football family. Gotta shout out my pops right now, Kenneth Smith, enjoying his 60th birthday. My father, 60 years young. Appreciate the man that he is and how he has been a huge impact on my life. But we want to hear from you, the Bama fans. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358, number to call in to get your voice be heard. 205-448-1358. Daily super chat goes $75. Appreciate you guys for all that you do. But without further ado, we jump to topic number one here of the conversation, that being Coach Saban getting it done again in the transfer portal, this time picking up a tight end. Now, a lot of people did not think the tight end would come from the JUCO ranks, but according to a lot of you, the fans on social media, you guys were just asking, does Bama get a tight end? You know, Bama needs a tight end. You got to get somebody to help out here with Cameron Latu, and Coach Saban heard all of that, so dips in the portal, gets Miles Kitselman from Hutchinson Community College in Kansas at the tight end position. He is the third tight end for the 2022 class that will arrive in the summer, joining the likes of Amari Nablack and Danny Lewis Jr. Kitselman will take part in Summer 1 classes for Alabama, which will start either late this month or early June, though Summer 1 classes. But what he brings at 6'6", or 6'5" to 6'6", 250 pounds, he's a very strong, a really good blocker. Like, he gets his hands on guys. He moves guys out of the play. For a lot of you fans, you've been wanting to get back to some of that nasty, run blocking, pass protection, physicality, especially on the offensive line, tight end, kind of the extension of the offensive line. Now, I get it. We're in a day and age where you want to have more athletic pass catchers, more dynamic, more elite, explosive pass-catching tight ends, like your Kyle Pitts, who came out of Florida, in Alabama terms, like your O.J. Howard, your Irv Smith Jr.'s, those type of guys. But, with, Kitselman, you do get that strong run blocker. You do get a guy that can really pass protect also, that can block on screen plays, springing those wide receivers up and down the field. And he does have some ability, some capability. If you're watching the tape here from his spring camp at Hutchinson, he does have some ability to, run a couple of routes, run a few routes, catch the football, do those types of things. So he does possess some ability. And when you look at a guy like a Bryce Young, who believes in sort of spraying the ball around, everybody gets in there, everybody gets involved, I think, Kitselman can have an opportunity to, be more involved, get acclimated to this offense, and kind of have some success here. And in terms of Tuscaloosa. Now, according to his social media page, his speed is 4.75 That's good speed right there for a tight end. Naturally, you want your tight ends running between a 4.7 and a 4.8 That's good speed. Now, you do have some freaks of nature out there, like a Kyle Pitts, who ran a 4.4 at the NFL Combine. You have other tight ends that can run 4.5 or 4.6, but normally, on average, your tight ends that have a 4.7 to a 4.8 40, pretty good speed right there. But what's going to be interesting is the dynamic between Latu and Kitselman, because Latu is more of that pass catcher. He's more of that playmaking weapon in the passing game. We saw it this past season where he had 26 receptions, 410 receiving yards, had 8 touchdowns. He was the single-season school record holder for touchdown receptions by tight end in Alabama. So that's what Latu gives you. He gives you that major or that big pass-catching threat. Kitselman kind of gives you that rough rider, dirty work, blocking tight end, who will set the edge, who will spring running backs free, who will spring receivers free, who will spring playmakers free up and down the field, but can still give you, given the opportunity, that pass-catching ability right there. So it's going to be fun to watch how this sort of meshes between Latu and Kitselman. And at the same time, Alabama can still develop your Robbie Oots, can still develop Elijah Brown, can still develop Amari Nablat, can still develop Danny Lewis Jr., but you as the fans really want to see, could Nick Saban go out there in that transfer portal and maybe pull a tight end, and he does do so from the junior college ranks, in Miles Kitselman from Hutchinson Community College in Kansas. But we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting started. When we get back, we go on the phone lines. We grab your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your conversations. A dialogue with you, the Bama Nation, comes right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
What's up, Bama Nation? This is Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, and you're listening to my guy, Stephen M. Smith, In My Own Words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide, roll!
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
As we're back into the action here, folks, from the break on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. Also, Mother's Day weekend treat. Mom right this week and every day, because without the moms, we would not be here. But we're going to go to a couple of super chats right now. We got Rusty Chambers with that $100 donation, showing love in the show. Appreciate my man Rusty. And Bill from New York, Big Bill, with that $5 donation, helping us out here. That daily super chat goal of $75 has been met. Appreciate Rusty and Bill. Now, Rusty had a thought here. A question on one Eli Ricks, transfer defensive back from LSU now to Alabama, and I answered a thought there on Ricks. It's in a video on the Touchdown Alabama YouTube page, YouTube channel, so you can check out that video on my thoughts there on the Eli Ricks situation. But to give more of a thought on this, he's back in Tuscaloosa now. So Ricks is back. He took part in the team photo shoot and posted some photos there too. His Twitter, his Instagram, all of his social media. So I think he and Coach Saban have gotten that understanding, this being his first offense, and I feel like, Ricks wasn't happy with what he did. So I don't think Saban had to get on him too much. So they handled that in-house, and I think this will be a situation where you will not hear what the punishment was or what the form of discipline may have been, just due to he's back on campus, took part in the team photos, looks to have been remorseful about what he did. Saban handled it the way Saban typically handles things, and I think that Alabama will be able to move forward. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's up, man? What's up, Steven? This Coach Smoot, man. What you got going on today, brother? Roll Tide, man.
Doing good, Senator, man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good, brother. I honestly have been looking at the news that's been coming through and happening at Alabama football program. And just, even with the Eli Ricks situation, I'm hearing that he wasn't the only one in the vehicle. The way media outlets put it out, they act like he was the only one in the vehicle. He was traveling back with people it was actually multiple cars in the convoy, to be exact. People coming back. It was 3 vehicles. So, and they got caught speeding, racing on the highway, which is funny to me, being a 20-year-old or 19-year-old. I think, what is he, 19, 20? So I think it was innocent, but great learning thing for him, man. He got to remember he's at a big, well-known program. He's in the spotlight, and he's gonna learn from it. He's very mature. You look at his upbringing, very strong-minded kid. So we're gonna see some things happen with him as far as being a leader, I think, coming out of this. But this tight end, Steven, didn't see nothing crazy spectacular on film. But you do see guys like this that come into Alabama program and they thrive. Because all I can hear about them is great work ethic. If that's what you have coming into Alabama, and if Nick Saban went into the transfer portal to come and get you, whether it was somebody on his staff or if he's inviting you to come in, to be added to the team, he sees the potential there, and having a great attitude and a mindset to just work is going to be spectacular for not only Alabama, but to be more in depth in the tight end room. Cam Latu has some more experience coming in to help him, probably help groom some more talented guys that are coming in right behind him. So this is a blessing, all in all with Alabama football. Steven, but I did have a question for you to kind of change up the tone with my phone calls, man. I wanted to bounce questions off of you and give you a chance to respond. So it's in reference to our offensive side. I love the offensive side. I love my wide receivers. Steven, healthy Ja'Cory Brooks, healthy Thais Jones-Bell, Jermaine Burton, Harold, all these guys are here, healthy. Give me a legit, what do you see realistically being our situation as far as rotation? Do you think this year's receiver group is going to be great by committee, or do you think we'll have a 2-man show like we did last year with Mechie and Williams, or like I said, committee like when the 4 horsemen first came on the scene, and Calvin Ridley? I mean, the 3 horsemen before there were 4, being Smith, Ruggs, and Judy, and Ridley was the number 1 guy. You remember they had to play in that support role. Do you see Burton taking on like a Ridley role, and then we have a support by committee type thing behind him, or do you see just 2 distinctive guys that's going to handle the wide receiver room and really separate themselves and be the go-to guys? I'm going to leave it with that, Steven. Shout out to everybody in chat. Roll Tide, everybody. Steven, thanks for taking my call. Shout out John Ivory, Ben and Bice, everybody in the back office, man. Everybody up there making it happen. Love you guys. TDA, Roll Tide, I'm out.
Appreciate Coach Smoke there, Senator Hines, starting us off on the show. And to answer his thought, as much as I could legitimately see it being a 2-man thing between Burton and Tyler Harrell, I'm going to go receiver by committee. I could see Burton in that Calvin Ridley role. I could see Tyler Harrell helping him out to pop it off even more. But Christian Leary did some really good things in that spring game. And I think Christian Leary has grown, not just as a speed receiver, but as a complete guy. The routes have gotten cleaner. The routes have gotten crisp. He's stacking routes together. So I look at Leary and then Ja'Cory Brooks. I mean, after what he did last season, he came on late in the year, big touchdown against Auburn, big touchdown against Cincinnati in the college football playoff in the semifinal, in the Cotton Bowl. So I could see this receiver by committee, 3 to 4 guys, in that rotation, really allowing Bryce Young to spray it out even more there. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name, where you calling from.
What's going on? Soon to be married, man. This is Tobias. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, my man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great. How you feeling now that you all engaged and stuff? How's it been going with that?
I mean, it's a blessing, man. I couldn't ask for anything more at this point. I mean, it's truly a great thing, man.
Well, man, Godspeed to you. I know it's gonna be a lot of prep work and all of that, and I can't wait for you. What a blessing, man, doing things the right way, and I'm excited. I love coaches kind of take on the tight end. I felt the same. I didn't see anything spectacular, but just looking at the measurables and looking at what could be, and trusting that Saban went into this portal and is pulling something out that he feels like is necessary above and beyond a blocker, because of course Randolph kind of served that purpose, but that's all Randolph was able to do is block. He never was catching a pass or anything like that. And you need to have dynamic tight ends, and Latu did a great job last year. There were some times, a couple of times where, but I just think it's going to be nice to get Bryce Young the weapons. And I was really interested in, this other kid from Pitt. Just, I don't know that he needs to come to Bama, but it is just interesting how all of Saban's prophecies are coming to pass. It's like mind-boggling. It's something that I don't know will be memorialized in his legacy about how he tried to help college football and, with his wisdom, and college football and, still went on and did what it was going to do, and how he maximized every shift. Because I'm listening to these same pundits wringing their hands now about the transfer portal and wringing their hands about NIL. Because all of this, as I stated a year and a half ago, was all designed to stop the superpowers like Alabama. So, and it's not going to work. Not as long as that man is in the seat. Something else that I found interesting is that, I hate to bring up Georgia fans, but I go to all these shows. I listen to them on YouTube. These people are delusional. It's like amazing to me, Steve. They are talking about how that they are the new big dog in town and yada yada. I'm like, okay, y'all won a game in 9 years, and we celebrate that. It was an amazing Georgia team. We're not going to talk about our injuries, but y'all not the only team that has beat Alabama in the last 14 years. Ole Miss beat Alabama twice. Texas A&M now has beat them twice. Clemson beat them twice. Okay, calm down. I just don't get it. Ohio State won once. It's okay. The question is, can you sustain that level of excellence? And I mean, it's like I don't know, Stephen. I just wanted to know am I crazy when I'm hearing that they're talking about Alabama's dead? Huh? What do you mean? You were losing the game going into the end of the third quarter. Stop. So I as a football fan, ex-football player, I wish there were more fans who looked at games through the lens of what actually is happening. And when I look at the Alabama team coming back, my most interested, the position group I'm most interested in is the defensive line, actually. Out of all of them is the defensive line. Can we be the stuffing Alabama who takes away the run game from you, and now you have to pass to beat us? Because, quite frankly, I don't think there will be a team that will be able to only pass to beat this Alabama team. It's not going to happen. And Georgia was able to run a little bit in order to pull down our safeties in varying times. And so, but I don't believe that's going to happen. So anyway, just wanted to call the show. I thought I dropped some money in the chat. It's not showing. Thought I dropped $100 in there. But anyway, I'll find out what's going on with that. Roll Tide. And have a great weekend.
Appreciate my man Tobias calling in from Fresno. I'll say this. For a lot of teams, it's beating Alabama is the Super Bowl, right? It's like in the NBA, when Michael Jordan and the Bulls were at their peak, it was beating the Bulls. Whether it was a regular season game, a preseason game, or a playoff game, beating the Bulls felt like you won the NBA Finals. You didn't win the NBA Finals, but because you beat the Bulls, it felt like that. So for a lot of teams that beat Alabama, they felt like we just won the Super Bowl. Now, Tobias makes a great point. It's, can Kirby Smart sustain this? Because that's the biggest pressure that's about to hit him. Lost 14 to 15 guys to the NFL draft, majority of those young men on defense. So can he sustain this type of success? Because this is what the Georgia Nation is going to be asking of him for years on end. But gotta shout out my man Tobias Brookins, that $100 donation in the chat. Appreciate my man from Fresno. And then we got Jamie Wilhelm with that $4.99 the super chats. Appreciate the love they're coming from Jamie. We're going to go to the topic really quick here before we get the man Miles Kitselman on the show. And the topic goes to Landon Collins, former Alabama safety who fulfilled a promise to Coach Nick Saban. Collins, who played for the Crimson Tide from 2012 to 2014 out of Louisiana, former first-team All-SEC, former All-American, was drafted in the second round, pick number 33 overall of the 2015 draft by the New York Giants. Spent a few seasons in New York, spent a couple of seasons in Washington, and while he is a free agent now, he told Nick Saban, told his family, I'm going to come back and get my degree, because he entered the draft as a junior. And Landon Collins has come back to the university. He has finished, and he will march with his degree this weekend. So big kudos there to Landon Collins, fulfilling that promise he made to Coach Saban, and he made to his family, and he made to himself. Yes, declare for the draft early, go get that money, put your family in a much better financial state, but always come back to better yourself in terms of education. Landon Collins did that, so kudos to him. We take a break right now on the show. Don't touch that dab. When we return, we got the latest member to the Bama family, Miles Kitselman, tight end from Hutchinson Community College. Join us next on In My Own Words. We'll be back.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, people, we're back into the action here on a Friday from the break. And right now, on In My Own Words, Touchdown Alabama Magazine, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. We go to the In My Own Words hotline. We pick up the latest edition, the newest tight end from Hutchinson Community College, joining your Crimson Tide, that being Mr. Miles Kitselman. Miles Kitselman in the building. What's going on, man? Happy to have you in here.
Hey, Stephen. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Got Miles Kitselman here on the show, coming from Hutchinson Community College, has committed to the Crimson Tide as a tight end from the JUCO ranks. Will enter this summer for those summer one classes. But Miles, first and foremost, congratulations to you on this awesome opportunity that you are embarking upon. But when you just look at Alabama, you know, what sold Alabama in terms of getting the chance to play for Coach Saban, getting the chance to play under tight ends coach Joe Cox? What sold you on Alabama in this process?
You know, Stephen, growing up, Alabama has always been a dream to me. Just allowing, having those coaches have all that faith in me and seeing my athletic abilities and, just believing in me. I'm just ready to get down there and be a part of, the best coaching staff that there is in the country. Just get down there, ready to work, and just try to, contribute as much as I can to the Alabama team. So it's a blessing. It's a dream. All glory to the Lord for allowing this to happen, but, just excited to be here.
Absolutely. So, Miles, when you just discuss, going back to your, not just your high school days, but also at Hutchinson Community College, you pride yourself on being that physical blocker. You move people out of the way. You set your teammates up to have success there on the field, whether it's running backs, wide receivers. What goes into that pride you take in making sure when I get my hands on a guy, I'm driving him off the ball, I'm working him out of the play, and I'm creating for my teammates? So how much pride do you take in that?
Oh, man. I don't think there's anything that I enjoy more in this world than moving a man from point A to point B and just giving my teammates the best opportunity, whether that's a running back breaking off my hip or that's getting a wide receiver open on a screen pass. A lot of guys, want all the glory. They want the touchdown passes and all that kind of stuff. But where I take my pride is moving that defensive player from point A to point B and allowing my teammates to have that opportunity to go do something with it. So, there's nothing more in this world that I enjoy than blocking. So I take a lot of pride in that.
And you're going to have a big opportunity, my man, with guys like Jahmyr Gibbs and Jace McClellan and just so many players you're going to have that chance to create those big play opportunities for in this upcoming season. If you're just tuning into the show, we got the man Miles Kitselman on the phone lines here, coming over from Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, committing to the Crimson Tide if you're just checking us out on a Friday. So, Miles, as much as you enjoy blocking, and you do, you also want to show the world that, hey, you can catch the ball too. You can catch the ball. You can make some plays. You can run some routes. You can score a couple touchdowns if the moment presented itself to do that. So, how excited are you to show that part of your game, also proving your athletic side as a receiver, as that pass catcher?
Oh, man, I'm really excited about that. That's a part of my game that I've really tried to focus on the last couple months, getting in there to Hutch. Cody Cook has worked with me. He's taken me underneath his wing. Cody Cook's the wide receiver coach there at Hutch, a former K-State player and former Hutch player. I don't know if there's a coach that I know that knows more than that dude. Just him taking me underneath his wing and, working on releases, coming out of my breaks, all that kind of stuff, hand-eye coordination. That dude has just helped me tremendously whenever it comes to route running and catching balls and all that kind of stuff. So first of all, if I just want to give all glory to Cody, we'll meet every single morning and we work on releases and all that kind of stuff. And man, the dude gave me everything that I needed. And I'm just ready to get Alabama and just continue that. Those guys, they're so intelligent and that kind of stuff. And I know that I'm going to get there and they're going to take me underneath their wing and just teach me everything they know. And I'm just ready to get down there and soak it all up and just get to work. So.
But now, Miles, before you committed to Alabama, were there any other major Power 5 schools that may have offered you or looked at you prior to you making this commitment to the Crimson Tide?
Yeah, I've been in touch with K-State since high school. I've been in touch with Iowa State quite a bit. I actually had an unofficial visit set up in Tennessee in June. Tennessee told me if I come back in the fall, then they'll have a spot for me. Unfortunately, they had a couple senior tight ends on the team, so they didn't really have a roster spot. But Coach Golish, the tight end coach from Tennessee, told me, hey, you're a great player. You got a lot of potential. So if you come back in the fall, we're, going to be really interested. So I was in contact with a couple of really good schools. Fortunately, Lord willing, Alabama pulled the trigger first, and I don't think I could think of another place that I'd want to go. So, obviously you're going to take that opportunity. So.
Well, Miles, the fan base, of course, already excited to have a tight end in here. What's your social media been like so far? Have you gotten a feel for the Crimson Tide fans and the Roll Tide Nation? What's that social media jump been like?
It's insane. Just having multiple people down there just text me and saying, hey, man, we're excited to have you. We take this very seriously. We're ready for you to get down here and get to work. If you need anything, we're down here and we're willing to help you and all that kind of stuff. And it just shows you how much they care about, Alabama, Roll Tide and all that kind of stuff. And it means a lot to me to feel welcomed. So.
Absolutely. He's Miles Kitselman, ladies and gentlemen, joining us here on the show, formerly of Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, but he has committed to the Crimson Tide for the 2022 class as a tight end from the JUCO ranks. Miles, best wishes to you. Hope you have an extremely promising career here in Tuscaloosa. You take care of yourself, man. Be good. Stay safe, brother.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely. Miles Kitselman here on the show, formerly of Hutchinson Community College. Hope for the best for that young man as he is now with the Crimson Tide. Really good blocker, and it's going to be fun to see him opening up more of that pass-catching aspect of his game. But we take a break right here, folks. Won't touch that down. When we get back, we go on the phone lines where we grab your calls, your thoughts, your conversations right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace.
This is Chris Rogers, 2009 National Champion. You are listening to the baddest, when I say the baddest, sports show in the state of Alabama. In my own words, yours truly, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Don't touch that dial.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to WhitwellSports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full-year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We're back from the break to the action here on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate the man, Miles Kitselman, formerly of Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, given that commitment to the Crimson Tide. Will be on campus in Tuscaloosa in the summer. Happy to get a chance to talk with him. But right now we go to the phone lines to grab your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in. We take this call. Hear you live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Hi, Stephen, Bill from New York, man. Let me tell you, that was such a great interview by you. You're going straight to the top. You know, there's no doubt in my mind. You just keep getting better and better. I just hope you don't forget about us, lowly people on your way up. And I don't think you will. Anyway, I want to talk about the wide receivers you were talking about. Everyone was talking about before. The point I want to make is every year, and I'm only going to go back only so far, under Saban, wide receivers step up. There's always somebody who steps up, and he does everything we want him to do. I'm talking about Judy, Ridley. Oh, my God. We had Devontae and Waddle at the same time, which was unreal. Jamison Williams. So I'm wondering I believe somebody's going to do it again this year. And I'm wondering who you think it is. And before I go, thanks again. You really do a great job. And I meant what I said. You're going to the top.
Appreciate my man Bill from New York calling in. If I had to give one just based off his speed and how quickly he can separate, I would say Tyler Harrell. Because that dude can separate fast. And an offense where Louisville's quarterback, Malik Cunningham, had over 1,000 yards rushing with 20 touchdowns. In that offense, Harrell still averaged nearly 30 yards a catch at 29.1. He still was able to kind of sort of get his, and the way he was able to effortlessly get away from press man, get away from coverage, leave defensive backs on a variety of routes. If there was a guy that could just pop off again, that would be the guy, Tyler Harrell. That's just my honest opinion. But appreciate Bill there for that call. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Steve, I'm sorry I had to call back, man. This is Tobias from Fresno. I'm pumped up.
Hey, my man. What's going on with you, brother?
I'm pumped up, man. That interview. I'm going to say it now, man. We taking that natty, man. I know I got on right before, and I was like, I don't see nothing like really that, like electric. I don't mean that as a slight, as an ex-football player, But his mentality is exactly what we need, though, man. Given that our line is going to come into, what it needs to do, I'm pumped up, man. This guy sounds like he's on the grind. I forgot that he's coming from JUCO, so he's mature. Bro, Steve, it's in the barring injury, of course, right? So that's
right.
Always the thing that stops us in a championship is the injury stuff. Anytime that bug has hit us too hard, that's the only thing that has allowed these other teams in it. But Steve, I'm pumped up. You setting up this interview, you got me on fire, brother. That man is going to come in here with his 6'6" self, and he is going to be moving people around. Did you hear him say that?
I heard him say that. I heard him say that, and just from watching him, it just looks like he takes so much pride in putting his hands on somebody and taking him 30 yards away from the play.
Steve, what are they going to do? You got Tyler, you got our Georgia guy coming in, Burton, and then you got what we already have there. You already mentioned Leary, who I believe is going to shake them up. He reminds me of not Drake, but he reminds me of Stewart a little bit, the way he kind of shimmies. But when you look at the receivers we already have, and you put Latu on one side, let's say when we're in our 12 set, you don't have those two tights, and you don't know whether they blocking, and our RPO game. When you got a 6'6" on one side, you got a Latu on the other side, and both of them can. Latu blocks well enough, and you got somebody who's not like this. I won't say his name, but that other tight end we had, he was all soft and didn't want to have catch, didn't want to have come to practice, and you got a man. Come on, bro. We about to take this natty. Sorry for the second call, but I did drop my money in the chat. Roll Tide.
Appreciate Tobias calling in. And I'm telling you, when you look at the tape and you look at Miles Kitselman, the first thing you see is the run blocking. The first thing you see is that there's a screen pass being thrown. If there's a route being ran, he's out there putting his hands on guys and driving them off the ball. And it's that type of physical mentality that you as Bama fans have been asking, can we get back to a little bit more of that? Yeah, it's cool. You can have guys that can catch the ball and break off big runs and break off big plays and score, and you like that too. And you enjoy it also. But can we have that just junkyard dog that says, I don't care if I score or not. Let me put my hands on somebody, drive them into the dirt, and just look at them as I'm driving them into the dirt. And that's a guy that Kitselman is, and I'm just excited to see his entire game come out. The blocking game, as we've already seen here on the tape, and then the pass-catching game as he continues to grow into that. It's just exciting to see what he could be able to do here in Tuscaloosa. But we take this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steve? It's your boy Elijah calling from Jersey. How you feeling today, man?
Man, doing great on the Friday, Elijah. How you feeling, though?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. I was I had a long conversation this morning with my cousin that stay in Decatur, Alabama, and we was he a big Auburn fan, which I don't know. He was dropped on his head at birth, man. I don't know what happened to him, how he ended up liking that team, but we was talking about Alabama, and he was asking me what really concerned me mostly about this team. And a lot of people, the offensive line is a given. We could say that, we're going to say that all summer until, this team gel. We're going to say that, I think, for the first 4 or 5 games of the season, to be honest with you, until this team gels, or till that offensive line gel. But, I think the position that really concerns me the most, and I told him I was going to call in to Stephen A. Smith and talk to him, or Stephen A. Smith and talk to him about this, is the cornerback position. And the reason why it concerns me the most, Steve, is not because these guys don't have the talent. It's the simple fact that Alabama runs such a complex defense. There's so many checks and balances along that secondary that, if somebody does this, if somebody motions this way, this side of the field is running this. The other side of the field is running man-to-man. This side is running a split safety, whatever you want to call it. And it's so complex. That's why we see people running wide open out there in the secondary, because sometimes it's the lack of communication. In college football is these guys are moving fast, so you got a split second to know what you're doing to get into the right position, or somebody's going to be running down the field wide open. So with my thing is, like that secondary, Kool-Aid got some experience last year. Kool-Aid did. The other corner, Kyrie
Jackson.
Kyrie got some experience. Yeah, Kyrie got some experience last year also. But is it enough? When you're talking about now the way college football is, where it's a speed up game. So now these guys don't have time to sit and think and get their thoughts together. This game is moving so fast, and it's so easy to blow coverages. And I think that's what we was going about last year. I think that was a huge problem last year. We had, Job, he had experience, but it's the communication along that secondary. And I think that's a problem that's going to be a growing pain for us this year as well, because it's so many checks that these guys do based on formations the offense come out in. It takes some of these guys a little while to get used to all that. And every week, the game plan is changing. The defensive coverages and things are changing every week based off of what the offense does. So, I think we're gonna see some mistakes this year in the secondary. Thank God we got guys like Battle back, Helms back, that have the experience that can help get these guys lined up. But the mistakes is going to happen because the game is moving so fast now. It's hard to even get defensive calls in the game with the speed that the offenses is moving at. So I just think, we're going to see it this year, and we just can't overreact until these guys get comfortable in these roles and everybody settles down. And, the only way you're going to learn is through playing time, through experience on the field. But let me know what you think about that, Steve.
Appreciate Elijah for that call. And it comes down to three things. Number one, for Pete Golding as the defensive coordinator, you got to simplify stuff. You can't come out here with a lot of these complex, in-depth calls. You got to simplify things. People always talk about the 2016 defense was so good. Well, the reason why it was so good, Jeremy Pruitt simplified a whole lot of stuff. A lot of things was one call, one word, one term, and everybody got it. So you simplify the defensive calls, and that's on Pete Golding to have that simplified there so that you're not thinking as much, that you're not scrambling your brain trying to figure out, am I in Ringo, am I in this, am I in that, am I in close zone, am I one call, one signal, one thing, simplify that. So then number two, it comes down to, like you mentioned, Elijah, guys like Jordan Battle and DeMarco Helms. These guys having the experience communicating this across the board and multiple times so everybody gets the gist of, okay, this is what I'm doing here. And then last but not least, guys just being able to play fast, not think as much, know what you're doing, but don't overthink. At the end of the day, play fast, because sometimes when you play fast, it can overcome some mistakes. So there will be mistakes that happen, but if you play fast and if you have the speed to catch up, it will eliminate a good portion there of those mistakes. But appreciate Elijah there for that call. Guys, shout out Jamie Wilhelm again with that $4.99 in the Super Chats. Appreciate the love coming from Jamie. And then we got Nona Davis in here. Nona with that $10 donation, showing love here on the show. And appreciate you guys for all that you do. Continue to like the show. Hit that subscribe button, making this your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. But now we go to a quick topic, and it's the saga that still has not ended. The gift that keeps on giving, so to speak. Mr. Agiye Hall, who is now at the University of Texas, but before he left, he decided to give one final parting shot there at the Alabama fans, or to the Alabama fans. And he was interviewed by 247 Sports site out of Austin. And one of the thoughts was about the culture of the Alabama football program. And, Hall was like, hey, the Alabama fans, they're not loving. They don't love. Even when you leave, they're not loving. They're not showing that loyalty to you. Texas fans, they're loving, and they love you unconditionally, no matter what you do. And I thought about that comment, and John Ivory, I was like, wow. There were hundreds upon thousands of Bama fans that were riding for Mr. Hall from the moment he came in to the national championship game. I mean, you had fans going, he's the best receiver, he's the best guy, he's the best athlete, put him on the field. Coach Saban, what are you doing? Put him out there. And then when he started putting up the weird tweets. People are like, why are we not playing Hall? Put Hall out there. He's 6'3". He's big. He's physical. He's a freak. Get him on the field. I mean, riding for him, right? And even when, he got out there in the national championship game and dropped 6 passes and apologized to the fan base, you still have fans going, that's okay, Agiye, that's okay. Next season's going to be your time. You steal that guy. You steal that dude. We still love you. Like, hundreds of fans loving on the kid. And then he responds with Alabama fans not loving. Texas fans love you unconditionally. Well, we will see what happens here on September 10th between Alabama and Texas and Austin. Boy. We will see what happens then. But we take our break here, folks, from the show and touch that down, because when we get back, we discuss Alabama in the 2023 NFL draft. I know this draft has just ended, but based on how these Bama players perform in the upcoming season, Bama could surpass the number Georgia had in the draft with the numbers it will have coming out potentially after the season. We'll talk about that after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
And folks, we're back rocking and rolling in here from the break with number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, here on a Mother's Day weekend. Treat mom right every day, but especially this week. Gotta shout out all the mothers out there. Without you guys, there would be no us. So I hope you all are enjoying this Mother's Day weekend, being treated out, getting all the support that you deserve. But before we get to the final topic of conversation, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. So for all of your fashion, clothing, swagger, saw, strip, cultural needs here, check us out right now, TDAwear.com. Do your shopping right there. Get yourself set up for SEC Media Day, summer workouts, fall camp, the 2022 season in the fall, by getting yourself that Bama gear, supporting your team, and supporting it by wearing the gear courtesy of us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazines. That's TDAwear.com. Check it out. Show that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But I know we recently just had the 2022 NFL Draft, and Alabama had 7 players taken in the draft and 12 players to make an NFL team overall, as 5 players signed as undrafted free agents. But, everyone, having the conversation about, Georgia putting 14 to 15 guys in the draft, which they did. I mean, kudos to Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs. They did. Most of those guys were on defense. But I look at, depending on what these guys do for Alabama this upcoming season, Bama has a chance to surpass the number that Georgia put in, especially when you look at the guys Bama's got on offense here under Coach Saban and the guys that Bama's got on defense here under Saban. And these guys are locked in, they're focused, they're prepared, they are ready to go. And just offensively here, You look at names like Bryce Young, who can go pro after the season. Jahmyr Gibbs, who can go pro after the season. Jermaine Burton, who can go pro. Tyler Harrell, who can go pro. You got at least Cameron Latou, who can go pro. You've got at least one offensive lineman that if they pop, that they can go pro. I mean, I look at Christian Leary. If Christian Leary really pops, he could potentially go. Well, no, he couldn't go. He's only a sophomore, so my apologies, not Christian Leary. But Burton, Harrell, all of those guys could go pro. Now, when you look at the defensive side of things, you got guys like Will Anderson that pops this year. He can go pro. You've got DJ Dale. You've got Byron Young. You've got Henry To'o. You've got Jalen Moody. You've got Eli Ricks. You have Jordan Battle. You have DeMarco Helms. You got Brian Blanche. So there's several names here. It's about 15 names I've routed off right there. Even you got Will Reichard from the kicking perspective here. And Will Reichard's been steady strong as a kicker for the Crimson Tide. So you got about 15 to 16 names here. And if all of these guys do what they're capable of, or even go above and beyond that, could see themselves drafted here in the 2023 venue. And they all have talent. They all have big time, playmaking ability and big time potential. It's will all of them hit it? And will all of them hit it at the biggest point in the upcoming season? And it kind of goes back to something Coach Saban's mentioned. When the team has success, then the individual accolades come. When you have an Alabama team that wins the SEC championship, that wins a national championship, then you get the individual accolades. That's why you see guys get these, first team All-SEC, first team All-American, the Heisman Trophy, the Biletnikoff Trophy, the Remington Trophy, the Nagurski Trophy. All of these individual awards come behind the team success. And then not only that, sometimes the draft numbers come behind the team success. Because if everybody on that team, turns up and that team does well, really well, national championship, then you have these pundits, they look at and study everybody. They grade everybody. They think, okay, that guy can go in the first round. That guy can go in the first round. That guy can go in the first round. That guy may not be a first rounder, but definitely second round. That guy can go in the second or third round. But it all stems back toward the success of the team as a whole. So that's what I'm looking forward the most to, is how these guys perform this upcoming season in the fall. And that would be a major trajectory into, or projection into, where they can go in the NFL draft for next year. But, folks, as always, Bama Nation, you want the best in news, notes, coverage, entertainment on your favorite program, that being Tide Football. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama magazine app. You can download the app from the iPhone App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store. If you got the Android phone. Now, for your audio needs, check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Monday, continuing the conversation that is Tide Football. Remember, Bama fans, you can do this. You can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. Also, if you're trying to get your hands on the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com, click join, become a member or a subscriber today. That link in the description. If you're trying to get the four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That's WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That link in the description as well. Appreciate the man Miles Kitselman, formerly of Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, committed to the Crimson Tide. Great interview with him. Great conversation with him. Appreciate him right there. Also, you, the outstanding fans of Bama football, for donations, the calls, the chats, the conversations, the dialogue with you guys. You guys subscribing to the show, hitting that like button, making this your place here for Bama football. Thanks to you guys. Also, my man John Ivory in the production studio doing his thing there behind the scenes. Until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, we've made it to the weekend, but you guys continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored. Be sure to grab yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. To all the moms out there, enjoy Mother's Day weekend. We appreciate and value you so much. Until next week, see you next time, folks. It's been In My Own Words.